Okay, you probably tell yourself you're pretty responsible with money. Bills are always paid on time. You don't buy things you don't need. You probably even have a savings account. And yet, at the end of each month, you're exactly where you left off. The balance hardly changes. Goals are just as far away as they were last month. Meanwhile, you're watching other people travel, buy houses, talk about their portfolios, and you wonder what they've figured out that you haven't yet. But the truth is, you're generally not bad with money. Maybe it's not even about earning enough, but that could be a factor. The truth is, you've somehow developed a handful of habits that seem completely normal to you. Habits that millions of people share, so no one questions them, and that silently consume your future without sounding the alarm. None of this is dramatic. These habits don't feel like a problem while you're living them. On the contrary, they feel like a responsibility. It sounds logical. That's exactly what everyone does, and that's why they're so good at leaving you penniless, without you even realizing it. So in this article, I want to address 11 money habits that are silently keeping you poor. Be warned, some of these might hurt or even upset you a little. You'll probably find yourself in more than one, maybe more than 5, of these habits. It's the pain of a little realization, because when you truly see what you're doing, you can finally stop doing it. Let's begin our journey. First habit, paying yourself last. Here's how things work for most people. Salary comes in, rent is paid, bills for electricity, water, gas, car installments, phone bills, forgotten subscriptions, minimum payments on outstanding credit cards. All of that is taken care of first. Then social life begins. Dinners out, drinks with friends, shopping, concerts everyone goes to. And finally, whatever's left goes into a savings account. But nothing is left over. There's always another expense that pops up, always something that seems urgent enough to justify itself, always a reason why this month isn't finally the right month to get serious. It means paying yourself last and essentially treating your own future, if you have one, as an afterthought funded only by crumbs. It's not a lack of discipline. It's actually a problem of prioritization. When everyone in your life has been paid, nothing is left for the only person who's really worked their butt off to earn that money, yourself. People who truly accumulate wealth manage this process in reverse. When money arrives in their accounts instantly, a percentage is automatically allocated to savings before they have a chance to spend it or wait for their lifestyle to quietly absorb it. This isn't a matter of willpower. It's an architecture. When saving happens first, your spending adjusts to the amount left over. When saving happens last, your savings also adjust to the amount left over, which is usually nothing. So think of saving like a bill. Pay it first, not later, not whatever is left. Start with at least 10%. Automate everything so it happens automatically whether you remember to think about it or not, and store it somewhere you don't constantly check, because you might be tempted to pull it again. If you pay yourself last, you guarantee yourself nothing. If you pay yourself first, you guarantee yourself a real future. Second habit, spending money to save. You bought those shoes because they were 40% off. You bought 3 when you only needed 1 because there was a buy 2, get 1 free offer. During a Prime Day sale, you clicked on the payment page for a product you hadn't even considered until you received the notification. This is spending to save, and it might be one of the most effective psychological traps of modern marketing. It actually seems very logical at the time. You're buying something that normally costs $100 for $60, so you've saved $40, right? Wrong. You spent $60. That $40 you supposedly saved was nothing more than a number that appeared on the screen, designed to make you feel like you'd gained something. You can't deposit the savings you make from a purchase into your actual bank account. The only money that matters is the money you never touch. You save 100% of everything you never spend. Discounts exist because they work. They create urgency. They trigger a fear of missing out. They create an artificial deadline that forces you to make a decision without a real second to think. They've done an incredibly good job of turning browsing the internet in their spare time into a real purchase, and it works best, especially for those who genuinely believe they're being smart by hunting for discounts. Sephora sales, Prime Day, Black Friday, whatever sale is happening this week, it all works on the same principle, making waiting more expensive than buying. But if you didn't plan on buying the item before the sale started, if you're not willing to pay full price, then the discounted price was never really a bargain. It was actually a smaller amount that you didn't need to spend at all. The best opportunity is almost always the one you don't take. Third habit, not tracking where your money goes. Ask most people how much they spend on food in a typical month. They won't give a clear answer. They'll guess. Ask about subscriptions. They'll hesitate. Ask for a full and honest picture of their monthly spending, and the subject will somehow change. It's like blind flight, and here's the uncomfortable truth about it. You can't control what you refuse to measure. When you don't measure your spending starts controlling you. Tracking is uncomfortable, it's daunting, and that discomfort is real. Seeing your numbers in black and white necessitates a kind of honesty that most of us would prefer to avoid. Once delivery app fees pop up in a spreadsheet, it's hard to ignore $200. When your monthly subscription fees reach $80 for services you hardly ever use, it's hard to claim there hasn't been a subscription surge. This discomfort is precisely why most people avoid tracking. Knowing creates accountability. Not knowing allows you to continue living in a comfortable fog where bad habits are never questioned, because remaining in uncertainty is easier than facing reality. Until you know with true certainty what is coming in and what is going out, you cannot make wise decisions about spending your own money. You react instead of planning. You are constantly faced with surprises at the end of the month instead of feeling in control from day one. So keep track of everything, just once, for a full month. Every coffee, every impulsive purchase, every auto payment you forgot to make, everything you brushed off with a "it's just $5. The picture that emerges from this exercise will be disturbing and will show exactly where your money is silently going. Fourth habit, lifestyle shift. You got a raise. Finally, more money is flowing into your account every few weeks. You worked hard for it, you tell yourself, and you deserve to enjoy it. Your apartment is being renovated. You're upgrading your car to a nicer one. You're eating out more often. Vacations are getting a little more extravagant. Maybe you're starting to look at neighborhoods that better reflect your new income. After all, you can afford it now, right? 6 months later, something unsettling emerges. You're earning more than ever, and for some reason you feel just as broke as before the raise. Your bank account looks almost the same. Financial stress hasn't decreased one bit. The only real difference is that your basic expenses silently increase, swallowing up everything that raise was supposed to give you. That's a lifestyle shift. Your spending automatically increases to match your income without you even realizing it. Luxuries quietly redefine themselves as necessities. A nicer apartment no longer feels like an upgrade and becomes normal income. What felt like a reward becomes a new floor that you can't easily afford, feeling like a kind of failure. Here's the trap. Once your lifestyle has inflated, trying to de-escalate it feels like going backward, so you just keep getting stuck at that high spending level, running faster to stay in the same place. Worse, you get bogged down in debt trying to maintain a standard you never actually secured. That should have changed your entire financial trajectory. Instead, nothing changed, because the difference was absorbed by boosted consumption instead of saving or investing. Honestly, Upgrading your lifestyle isn't inherently a bad thing. It just needs to happen gradually, consciously, once your financial foundation is truly secured. Not immediately, not automatically. The fifth habit, relying on credit cards as a crutch. You think, I'll swipe the card now and deal with it later. When the bill comes, you'll already have your paycheck, so things will be fine for you. But things never seem to get fine. The balance is carried over to the next month. Interest continues to silently accumulate in the background. The debt grows slowly enough not to cause a real panic, but steadily enough that you can never escape it. Like a snowball, some months you almost pay off the debt. Then something comes up and you're back where you started. About 60% of Americans carry credit card debt at any given time. The average balance is over $6,000. The average interest rate is over 15%. This means that if you're only making the minimum payment, you're not actually paying off your debt. You're essentially paying the bank a fee for the privilege of remaining indebted to them indefinitely. Credit cards themselves aren't bad. They're useful. They offer protection against fraud, and sometimes they even offer genuinely helpful rewards. The danger lies in the fact that credit cards become a form of support, a way to spend money you don't actually have and tell yourself you'll have it later. This is comforting. But the psychological trap goes deeper than just mathematical calculations. Credit cards separate the pain of payment from the pleasure of buying. You get the product immediately, and the discomfort of payment is postponed for weeks, lost in a statement filled with transactions you barely remember. This vicious cycle of feedback is precisely why overspending feels painless in the moment, making it so easy to keep doing it. There's a simple solution. If you can't pay off the entire debt today, you really can't afford it. See the card as a convenience, not as an extension of your budget to money that doesn't yet exist. Use it like a debit card. Just spend the money you already have in your account, and the support becomes a tool instead of a trap. Sixth habit, shopping for your dream self. Your closet is full of clothes you've never worn, maybe even forgotten about. In a corner, there's exercise equipment gathering dust because it's unused. On the nightstand, there are piles of unread, dusty books. That guitar you bought on impulse, those running shoes. The fancy kitchen appliances are still in their original packaging. This is spending money on your dream person, shopping for your dream person instead of your current self. Your dream person is running a marathon. That's why you bought those shoes. Your ideal version of yourself cooks elaborate dinners, so you bought expensive kitchenware. Your ideal version reads a book once a week, so you bought a stack of novels that serve as decorative furniture. It all seems like an investment in a future, better version of yourself, something you're eager to pursue at the moment. But that better version never quite materializes, and you're left with expensive evidence of intentions that ultimately lead nowhere. Honestly, that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you really need to invest in the gear to support a transformation you're determined to make. The problem is that silently buying something replaces the action. When you buy the costume and never play the role, the spending seems like progress, but nothing actually changes. So, before you spend money on a version of yourself you hope to become, ask yourself an honest question. What have I done lately that truly and consistently proves I'm transforming into that person? And let me know in the comments. If the answer is nothing, then the purchase is probably nothing more than an expensive costume for a life you haven't yet lived. Seventh habit, literally saying yes to everything. Friends invite you to an expensive restaurant for dinner. Technically, you're trying to save money, but you don't want to be the only friend who can't go, so you reluctantly say yes. Then a weekend trip, then concert tickets, then a birthday dinner at an expensive restaurant that nobody actually likes, but someone booked it in advance. Then after-work drinks because everyone else left. Then a group gift you didn't budget for at all. You probably felt that little sting of recognition somewhere along the way. That, wait, That's literally me moment that quietly signals something genuinely needs to change. The real question now is simply what you actually do with all of that. You can keep doing exactly what you've been doing and expect the exact same results you've always gotten. You can stay comfortable inside patterns that feel completely normal, while they quietly cost you everything, one small decision at a time. Or you can start building the actual foundation that lets you keep, grow, and genuinely control the money you already work so hard to earn. The habits that got you to where you are right now absolutely will not be the ones that get you to where you actually want to go. Real change starts the exact moment you decide that the discomfort of staying exactly the same finally outweighs the discomfort of trying something genuinely different. That decision is entirely yours to make, and honestly, the best time to make it is right now.